came because of the title? As I suspected. Good. Exactly. Very good, yeah. As long as you're not calling me something else. All right. How are you, kind sir? All right, then. Let's get cracking. So, to me, this was an awesome line. I mean, many of you will probably have heard this before. But, a lot of times you can go through many years of reading things, being involved, being around, and just it slips by. You didn't hear it before. I never heard this until I heard it. Now I heard it. And I want to share with you. And that's good old Benjamin Franklin. What am I going to say? Give me a Benjamin Franklin line.
Then he saved the 10 years.
Benjamin Franklin? Oh, and he got nailed. Oh, okay. It works! Okay. He's also the first cardiac patient. Okay. That would be, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Awesome. What a statement. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. What shaykhs? What does it have to do with anything to do with the title? And again, you probably don't remember what the title is, so we're good, but I'm going to remind some of you. This is something to do with Simcha. We're still in Adar. Right? We're still rocking it. There's a lot of days of Adar. And we know that the Gemara says about Adar that just like Kishem just like when the month of Av comes in, we decrease our level of joy, so too when the month of Adar comes in, we increase our level of joy. I just messed myself over. I shouldn't have said that, and I should have asked you. But even with that introduction, I'm still going to ask you, and let's see if you get nailed anyway. All right? So the question is, what are the feelings one is supposed to have during the month of Teves? That's one answer. I'm going to share another one with you. But I'm glad you're all interacting. It's beautiful. Okay, let's say it differently. What are the feelings one is supposed to have during the month of Av? What's that? Sad. Despair. Reaper. Okay, good. And this leads into our next topic. Thank you. Right? Okay. Well, this is more accurate? Good. The lashon of the Gemara is, the terminology of the Talmud is that just like when one enters the month of Av, they are mima'atim b'simcha, they decrease their level of joy, so too when you enter the month of Adar, you increase your level of joy. However, one always needs to be in a state of joy. There's just a decreased level and an increased level. For more on that, look at the 5 levels of pleasure on Yiboneh's website. Okay, But before you actually see that, and we'll see this one tonight, that's the idea of where we really always have to be in joy. A person's always supposed to be in a state of joy, always supposed to be living in a state of joy, a state of happiness, a state of elation, whichever word you want to come up with, right? But really, the ultimate question is, the question is, how does one do such a thing? How does one live in a state of constant joy? Again, a little more, a little less. How does one do such a thing? Someone once asked me, a personal question, asked me. He said, how are you always happy? I said, first of all, you don't know me. Second of all, none of your business. Third of all, what do you mean, how am I always happy? How are you not always happy? All right, so what does that mean, how am I not always happy? Well, how are you not always happy? So the reason why someone wouldn't be happy is what? Why wouldn't the person be happy? Come on, give me some reasons. What? Financial problems. Good. Horrible. An example which is correct. A correct example.
No, troubles, a lot of problems.
What was the word you said?
Troubles.
Oh, troubles. A lot of troubles. Okay, a lot of troubles in people's lives. Yeah, what else? Romantic problems. We're not going to get too personal with that one, but we're going to move on. Yeah? Okay, so why would a person, well then how does a person, so now we understand why a person would not be happy. Now why would a person be happy?
Be happy to focus on the good.
Health. What? Briut and health. Nice. Okay. What else?
To focus on the good things what you have in the life.
Yeah.
And only to look what you have, not doesn't have.
Yeah. Okay, I want to share with you something. And I don't know this neighborhood, so I don't know what goes on in this place. And you probably will misunderstand me, and you might want to edit this part. That's up to you. But essentially, pardon me, hear me out on this. Or don't, whatever you want. Right? Some of you can be like, great, and leave when I say this, but we're going to try it anyway. And with that introduction, I shall now share with you what I was thinking up until now. And here we go. Open quote of myself. Essentially, you brought up a very crucial point about the concept of being happy with what you have. Right? This is like the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, Ezu Ashir, Asamech Mechalko. I have an uncle that said, interestingly, that Ashir is an acronym. Ayin, Shin, Yud, Reish. Ezu Ashir. Ayin stands for Einayim. Shin for Shinayim. Yud for Yadayim. Reish for Raglayim. If you look at the fact that you have eyes, and you have teeth, and you have hands, and you have feet, you don't need a stomach. But if you look at all these things, yeah, then what happens? Don't worry about the head. Then what happens? Then you'll be okay. Well, it's focusing on a concept of what you have. This is where I want to share with you something which this would be totally legal in Colorado, Washington, and other areas, but here might be problematic. You gotta smoke your own stuff. This is like, it's gotta be homegrown. You gotta smoke your own stuff. Now, very good, yeah. So, what do I mean you gotta smoke your own stuff? So some of you, again, I always have someone who walks in and says, this is awesome, I'll see you. All right, I gotta go smoke my own stuff. What I mean by that is, we've heard the expression, the grass is always greener on the other side. What did you think it meant? What did you think it meant? Right, so what it means is essentially, and it really is a double entendre going on over here, there's a lot happening here. What does it mean when we say that the grass is always greener on the other side? Essentially what we're saying is you look at someone else's grass, and you say it's greener, but you have to realize your stuff is the purest stuff. It's the cleanest, purest stuff. It's going to get you the highest. You're going to get to the highest of the high if we would just roll up and smoke our own. That's what it comes down to. You got to smoke your own. And that is focusing on what you have. Really, ultimately, we have the most incredible, there's a bracha which you say every day. Let me rephrase it. There's a bracha that is meant to be said every day. I don't know you, I'm not judging. Right? But the bracha, so I'm not going to judge you favorably either. Right? But the bracha is that we thank the Lord, Sha'as Alikol Tsarki. Thank you for giving me everything that I need. The Gemara says it's talking about shoes, right? Talking about shoes. But it can also be extended to Sha'as Alikol Tsarki. You gave me everything I need. Thank you, Lord, for giving me everything that I need. You've given me all my needs. So there was one time when there was a rabbi who made this blessing, quite poor, a pauper. And one of his students came to him, one of his disciples, others would say disciples, and they said, Rabbi, what are you saying? You don't have anything. He goes, well, that must be called Sarki. That must be everything I need. So many times we think what we need is if I were to just have, and if I were to just have, and they have, putting aside the fact that you don't know their pekala. Understand? Putting that aside. That you want that? Okay. You want it, we'll give it to you. You want it, we'll give it to you. We'll give it all to you. Just know, you want it, it's a package deal. And it looks really nice and sweet because that's all you're focusing on. But if you take a step back and look at all the other issues that are going along with that, and you say, maybe I don't want that so much. Concept of focus, that's true. So what could cause a person not to be happy? You see, now we're flipping a little. I started by asking, what will cause a person to be not happy? And we had very clear examples. Lack of health, money, romantic issues, troubles, or whatever they are. What will cause you to be happy? And then we start getting like Torah and esoteric, right? It's no longer real. It becomes this fake thing. When we're dealing with our issues, I'll tell you all my issues, okay? That's what makes me not happy. Now, what makes you happy? Well, I think the Torah says an idea of focusing on good things. But nobody actually told me something specific about their briut. That's good, health. But other than that, what do we got? Give me examples. If you want to get esoteric and you want to talk about the concept of, well, it'll make you happy when you focus on what you have, then what makes you not happy? When you focus on what you don't have. Everybody get it? That's what it comes down to. That's it. When you're focusing on what you don't have. Everything in life comes down to one word. It's in Spanish. It's enfocar. It's known as focus. Everything comes down to your focus. Mind over matter in a serious way. I'll share with you an amazing exercise. Amazing exercise. Which is not really relevant to this class, but it is. But it is. Okay, the exercise is like this. Yeah, thank you. Forgive me, Father Fry. So I want to share with you just this. Now, I'll tell you, it didn't work on me, this exercise. When I first heard this one, it didn't work. Now, it goes like this. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. Whoa, I thought you said it's water. Anyway, so listen to this. Yeah, exactly. The issue of Purim. Yeah. Okay. Good old wine. Anyway, so basically, here's the example. I happen to have seen this on a video made by a rabbi in Washington D.C. His name is Rabbi Bars, Rabbi Stephen Bars. I don't know who that is, and if you don't know who it is, I still saw it from him. Now, when I saw it, I didn't like the video, but then when I thought it through, I loved it. I'll share it with you. Okay, let's try to think for a moment. Think for a moment about something that you want. Something that you want that you don't have, that you want, and that you're actually trying for. You're working towards. You're building, you're investing, you're trying to get. It could be a spouse. It could be financial. It could be health. It could be whatever, fill in the blank. Think of something that you want. Do you have it? You don't have to tell us it. Do you have it? Now you can just make it up. Sure, I have it, right? Yeah, you have it? Okay, do you have something? There's something that you want. Do you have something?
No, I don't have what I want.
Do you have in your mind something that you would want? Yeah? Okay, you got something that you would want. You have something that you want. Yeah? Now I want you to think it through for a moment. Okay. You have something that you want? You don't have to tell me what it is. Imagine I were to tell you that now I was specific. I want to make this clear just so we get all past all the issues. I was like, well, it doesn't work because we'll get rid of that. Yeah? What I mean is, be clear, you've been working towards it. Not like a sudden shock, like, you don't have money and then you win the lottery, right? That's not going to be something good, obviously, and that's not something you're working towards. I'm saying something which is clearly good or right, or you should be involved with, or that you should be getting, or that you should, etc., at least according to your understanding. And you're working towards it, and you just haven't yet attained it. And it's challenging and it's difficult, and you really want it. Now, I want you to imagine, I tell you, in 1 week, you're going to get it. How do you feel about it?
Right now? Relief.
You're going to get it in a week.
Probably the same time.
What's it?
I wouldn't.
I'm telling you right now, you're getting it in a week.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Right now, nothing changed.
Don't get so intelligent to me. I'm asking you a question.
You're relieved.
I'm asking you a question. Is there anything that you want, that you really want? And I tell you, you get the phone call. You're getting it next week. You're like, okay, thank you, goodbye.
I feel good.
Oh, okay, good. Now, this is a yeshiva guy, yeah? Where you going with this guy? I'm not falling for your games. Yeah. You remind me if I took a course here in Mada, Magen David Adom, for, I don't know what it's called even. It's an 88-hour course, right? To become an EMT. It's right below Chovesh Bach. Anyway, so I took a course. It was a bunch of yeshiva guys. So, because, the schedule that they normally had just didn't work out with the yeshiva schedule, so there were like 30 guys. They were all in yeshiva, and they all joined. It was a 4-month course, and we went and we joined this course. And at the end of the course, you take this test. It's a multiple choice. And the instructor said, listen, there's no trick questions here. It's very clear. If you know the information, you're going to know it. No questions. Begin. Within 12 seconds. What? In the first one, when it says the guy is having a heart attack, do you mean that he's having a heart attack in this way? Or and the guy's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just a heart attack, right? Second question was like, so you're talking about ventricular fibrillation. Do you mean that the person, he's like, well, I don't know what I mean. And he walked out of the room. I couldn't handle a bunch of yeshiva guys trying to outdo the guy, right? That's how it works in Gemara. You go back and forth, back and forth. How would you feel if I told you you're going to get it? I used to say tomorrow. But I stopped that because then I found, because of the women in the room. The reason that is because a lot of the women, I don't know people's status here in life, but if someone's not married, so if it's a man who wants to get married, and I say, imagine you have it tomorrow, I'd be like, great, let's get married tomorrow. If it's a woman, tomorrow, I'm not ready. So I have to get dressed, I have to lose weight, I have to diet for a couple of days, and then get dressed after I diet. It doesn't fit anymore, and then it does fit, and I eat too much, and then it gets out again. What am I going to do? Right? Fine, in 2 weeks. Right? That's what I say. Yeah, instead. So you can just change that to whatever you're used to. So if I tell you, you're going to get it tomorrow, how would you feel? How would you feel? How would you feel? Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Welcome. How would you feel? Funeral. Okay, so the answer is we're not talking about marriage here specifically, right? We're talking. Okay, so the answer is even though he tried to knock me out, even though he tried, we still got through that, and that's what that you would feel better than you do right now, and probably great. But how come, as is pointed out so aptly, nothing changed? You haven't gotten it yet. What changed? Your state of mind. That's it. I think it was Rav Gifter who said, it could have been, I'm sorry, I'm not quoting correctly. I think Rav Gifter said that everyone is looking for the country of happiness. Little do they know that it's a state of mind. Was it Rav Gifter? Yeah, I think. Right? Looking for the country of happiness. It's a state of mind. You want to be happy. Then what happens? Just decide. Just make a choice. Be happy. Oh, yeah, sure, it's that easy, yeah? It's that easy. Yeah, it's that easy. Yeah, it's pretty. That is pretty much the case. Yeah, it's about focus. It's a choice. You got to be happy, no matter what's going on in life. There's going to be challenges. The reality is going to be challenges. But when you go ahead, so, okay, the question is, how does a person do it? How does a person get to a point where they're actually able to live with it? How are you able to actually infuse it into our lives that we can live with it? So we're all out of time. But thank you all for coming. What's that?
It's not time for a click.
Okay, so how do you do it? So I'm going to share with you an idea. So it's actually a halacha. It's brought down in Jewish law, believe it or not. It's brought down in Shulchan Aruch, or Sun Reish Lamed Sif Hey. In Shulchan Aruch, it brings down Sif Beis comes as the following idea. I think this maybe is coming from Kitzer, if I quote it. Okay, but it says like this. I'll read it to you a little bit. Chayev ha'adam levarich es Hashem yisbarach shemo gam ala ra. This is a very famous Gemara. Kishem shemevarchen ala tov, kach mevarchen ala ra. Just like a person makes a blessing on good, they make a blessing on not good, or as many people translate as ra. Just like with good, you make bad. Now the Gemara happens to say, what are you talking about? Just like? Not true. When good things happen, we say one thing. When not good things happen, we say something else. What do we say when something not good happens? You hear terrible news. What do we say? Baruch Dayana Emet, right? Blessed is a truthful judge. The most extreme of that is a person, God forbid, hears about somebody passing away. So somebody passes away, the first thing a Jew says is Oivei. After that, they say, Baruch Dayana Emet, right? Blessed is a truthful judge. What happens if something good happens? Like you make a bracha on a bottle of wine, and someone brings out a nicer bottle of wine, right? And then you make a bracha, halacha, right? What bracha do you make? Baruch hatov v'ametiv. Blessed is one who is good and bestows goodness. So what does the Gemara mean when it says just like you make a blessing for the not good, you make a blessing for the good? Let me do the flip thing. Just like you do it for the good, you do it for the not good. It's not the same thing, it's different. So what's it just like? Give me a word. Give me a word. Give it. Give me a word. Rhymes with simcha. Simcha is correct. And that's what? Besimcha. Just like we make a blessing on good, what do we do it with? When good things happen, what do we say? Like, oh, Baruch Hatov V'Meitiv. Wow, yes, I had a child. Yes, I get the job. Yes, she said yes again. Yes, whatever it may be. Right? And we say, Baruch Hatov V'Meitiv. What happens if, God forbid, something bad happens? I'm not saying to go, yes! Because smiling is not necessarily simcha. Don't confuse a smile with joy. A lot of depressed people out there that smile. I heard a beautiful idea from Rabbi Dov Brizak, I believe is his name. Is that somebody? Then he says the following. My chavrusa told it to me in his name. He said the following. He said that somebody asked him once, why is it that we're trying to get people that are secular to get involved in religious Judaism? What is it about that? They look happy. It's funny because maybe there was a time, I don't know. Maybe there was a time. I just don't know my generation now is that I hear about the concept of, as in particular I teach, in one of the places I teach is Eishat Torah. And Rav Noach Weinberg, of blessed memory, very big on the concept of speaking about, you want to be happy in life, you want pleasure, you want to enjoy, you want to whatever. And people were searching, at least I'm told, I don't know. People were searching, and they come to, travel through the countries, and, with the backpack and the long hair, the whole thing, right? And they come to be looking for some sort of whatever. And you didn't really have to convince somebody that they want happiness, because everybody was like, yeah, I do want happiness. I'm searching for something. Nowadays, in my experience, it seems perhaps that people aren't searching as much. Maybe because except for on Google, right? But they're not They're not searching as much, right? We're too busy searching to search. You understand? So what I need to do is I need to show them they're not happy, and then show them how to be happy. You understand? It's double work now. I got to show you really you're not happy, and then show how you're happy. But what am I talking about? Aren't there people that are happy? So this is what somebody asked the rabbi. People are happy. Look at secular people. They're happy people. Why are you trying to mess up their lives? Why are you trying to give them meaning? So he said, did you ever see a kid when you tickle a kid? When you tickle somebody, how do they look? How do they look? How do they look? Right? They look full of joy, don't they? What are they yelling? Stop. But they're smiling. It means they really like it. It says, no, that's just a reaction. They really don't like it. So they say stop, because actually, tickling comes from pain. A person can't feel pain, they can't feel tickling either, and that's why you can't tickle yourself, because you can't really give yourself pain. I know people that can. Okay, but I get it. I understand. We're not getting that. It's another discussion with other medical professionals. We're not doing that, yeah? Point is that generally you understand the concept that a person isn't able to do certain things, so whatever. So you generally can't tickle yourself. I do remember once my 6-year-old. When my 6-year-old was about 2.5 years old, I have a video of this, I think. He started laughing. He was cracking up. He's in the back of the car. I think we were in California, sitting in the back of the car, laughing his head off. And we're like, what are you laughing at? Turn around. He was tickling himself. And we're like, what are you doing? And he was like full on, like crying. He was like, stop! He's tickling himself. Okay, so generally it doesn't happen, but all right. Okay, he's amazing. Anyway, so the idea is that when that's happening, don't confuse smiling with happiness. Doesn't mean you're happy because you're smiling. There was a stimulus, right, that caused a person to go and smile. So understand, when a person, God forbid, go through some sort of pain, doesn't mean they can't be happy. Doesn't mean they can't be happy. It does mean you don't go, yay, they died. Baruch Daina Emes. Let's make a Baruch Daina Emes cake, right? You don't do that. You understand? That's messed up. But understand that we still have to do it with the same understanding and fokar. The focus and recognition that really everything, kol madav rachmana l'tava, that everything Hashem does is good. Gam, zu, l'tova. I would have said l'tova, but for you, l'tova. Oh, you know it. After all these years, I got to do something for you. All right, so it says like this: Seif Beis Chayav Adam Levarach Hashem Yisbarach Shemo Gam Al Ra Shenemar V'Aftas Hashem Elokecha B'Chol V'Chol Nafscho Me'odecha B'Chol V'Chol B'Shnei Yitzrecha B'Yetzer Tov Yitzhara Perush Gam Kishu Osek Be'inyonei Olam Hazeh Yikayim B'Chol Derechecha De'eu. I know some Lamed Al B'Chol Nafsho. Okay, it's going off in the whole Zachin here. Yeah. V'chayiv Adam levarach gam al hara b'dei shalema v'nefesh chafatzim k'mo shehu mevarach al tova. Shem chesed u'mishpat ashira l'cha Hashem. Azamra chesed ashira v'mishpat ashira. This is amazing. You know, David HaMelech says, "Ba'ani b'chastecha b'tachti, yogel libi b'shuasecha. Ba'ani b'chastecha b'tachti, yogel libi b'shuasecha." Ashira la Hashem, ki gamal alo. So what does he say? Ashira la Hashem, ki gamal alohoy. An amazing idea. It's a focus. David HaMelech is talking about the fact, if you look in that Tehillim, he's going through pain. I think it's Kapitel Yud Gimel. He's going through pain, tough, hard stuff. But he says, "Va'ani b'chastecha b'tachti," but I am certain, with your chesed, Yageli Bibi Shuasecha, Ashira La Hashem Kigam Alay. I know you're going to get me out of this. I know it's good. I know everything's right. So I'm able to sing right now in the rain. I tell you, it's amazing if you see the way we're raised has such an impact on the way that we think, obviously, right? Our environment and the people we're with. When we go outside and it's raining, my kids instinctively, I just remember, particularly my son most recently, said to me, I was like, oh, it's raining. He said, Bracha min hashamayim. Right? Because we educated him young. Right? Bracha min hashamayim. How do you look at things? Everything is good. And my daughter just said, she's 4 now. My 4-year-old said, she was 2.5 once. She said something like, oh no, my toy almost broke. But it's okay, because even if it would have broke, it would be good. Because everything is good. It's like, it's amazing. And then when something actually broke, she's crying. I'm like, I thought it's good. She goes, it is, but I want it not broken, right? So it's like, how are we taught to look at life? And if we can learn something, then we can learn another way. And it all comes down to a choice. If a person wants it or don't want it, that's what it comes down to. A person goes ahead, you make a choice of how to do it. Now it goes down, brought down in Shulchan Aruch. What does a person need to do? This is where it comes that a person should accustom themselves to say, Gamzu Tova. This too is for the best. Get into a mode where you're practicing and getting into a mode where we say, this too is for the best. Now, when do you do that? When do you do that? Now, I want to share with you a story. It's unfortunate. It's not really a whole story, but I was teaching somewhere once, somewhere around the world, and there I was. And this woman came to me after. The class is about emunah, bitachon, faith and trust is loosely translated. And so someone came over to me after and said, okay, great class, great class. You got to have emunah, you got to bitachon, very good, very good. You got to have faith, got to have trust, you got to have faith, right, and trust. Okay, got it. Well, I've got a question for you. What are you going to tell my sister, whose husband just got diagnosed with that unfortunate, terrible illness? And the doctors seem to say that he doesn't really look like he stands so much of a chance. What are you going to say to her? Have faith, trust. What are you going to say to her? So I said, first of all, I'm not going to say anything to her. What can I say to her? I can only say to you, and even to you is going to be a little bit difficult because although it's not your particular spouse, it's only your brother-in-law. Like my father-in-law was once introducing me to someone. He goes, this is my son-in-law, and I love him like a son-in-law. I said, thanks, dad-in-law. Right? But even though he's close enough that it's hard, but it's far enough away that I can still say something to you. The answer is to say to a person who's in the midst of pain and going through tragedy and suffering and experiencing things that don't seem to be so good, there's nothing to say to a person who's going through that. Nothing to say. But what I could say to you who's not there is I could say the following. We need to train ourselves. We need to go through, what's it called when you start in the army? It's called, boot camp, another one, something training. Basic training, right? Basic training in boot camp, right? In order to be able to get up to par, to be able to deal with things. You don't just throw a soldier right into battle, right? You first put them through basic training. Basic training can be quite scary. Basic training, if you're really messing with it, they say Marines, excuse me for the graphic nature of this content, but Marines, the first time that they go to battle, it is very common that they will go out wearing certain garments underneath their garments to make sure that they protect themselves. It depends on what they're going through, but you get my point, right? In other words, they wear diapers. Marines, talking about big, tough guys going out, like the tattoos and the things and the blings and all that, and they'll still go out, and they'll go, why with a diaper? Because you're scared. That's scary. And you have to sometimes simulate that, right, in order to get used to it if something's going to happen. Train yourself to be able to deal with circumstances. Just like the body isn't able to handle stress unless you work it through. Physical stress, something's pushing on you. You need to push off, besides adrenaline, right, to push off something. Unless a person is able to go ahead and train their body, same thing with the mind. You've got to train your mind. Have you trained your mind? The Ramban talks about it, right? In the beginning of the Gerasa Ramban. Essentially getting into a habit. When a person gets into a habit of doing something over and over and over again, it becomes part of them. When it becomes a part of them, it's just second nature. It's just second nature. I saw an amazing idea once saying that they were finding that there was an elite unit. I can't remember where this was or what this was. I just remember basically there was an elite unit that was training. And it turns out that none of the people were able to finish the training, because the last part of the training was that they would, this is like some sort of Navy SEALs thing. The last part of the training is that they would throw you off your boat into the water in the dark and the whatever, and then the trainers would come at you when you're not ready for it. They would grab your water, your oxygen, and pull your oxygen out. And you have to be able to stay underwater and still fulfill your task or your mission. That's what you have to do. And no one was able to succeed. Everyone was failing. They didn't know what to do. So they brought in, a psychologist to come and see and take a look and see. And they started training them. They started having them envision and imagine what they're going to go through. Try to imagine what you're going to go through. Because the mind can't make a distinction between reality and fantasy. You can't make a distinction between it. The mind will live it. If you're thinking something, you will have physical reactions to that. Think about something sad. I mean, how many people do this? Yom Kippur, you know you should be crying, but you're not. So you do that association thing. You think about somebody who died, you're like, Yom Kippur, right? And then you just start pretending like it's Al Chet, because I care how much I sinned, Associative. So what we do is, again, because our minds can't make a distinction between what's really happening and what's not really happening. So if you're able to go ahead and get yourself in a place where it's happening, i.e., you're going to get it next week or tomorrow. You just put yourself in that place. You didn't even get it. It doesn't matter because you think you're going to, so therefore it's as if already, even without even having it. Fascinating. So they started training the soldiers to imagine and envision it happening. And before they even went in the water, imagine yourself in the water. Imagine yourself being attacked. Imagine yourself getting the water, your oxygen taken. Imagine yourself having 2 minutes. Imagine yourself having to fulfill the task. And in the beginning it was hard, but they trained them to a point that when they started taking the test, 100% pass rate. Because everyone all of a sudden was able to go out and see such an idea. We have to train ourselves. We have to train ourselves. Gam Zulatova, this too is for the good. This too is for the best. This too is for the good. I'll share it with you with a song. A song that we sing all the time. We say it every Shabbos. Tov Lahodos LaHashem. And it's funny because so many times when we go and we sing songs, we don't really know what we're singing. We're not really paying attention to the words. That's in English and Hebrew. Even in English. Even though we hear like a lot of different songs like, I can't think of one. But anyway, yeah. But that was a hit single. So those type of things. How many songs do we know the tune? And like, yeah. But like, you don't actually know the words, right? And then you stop and listen to the words. You're like, this is quite depressing, this song, right? It's like, this is not like a good song.
It's foreign language.
Say again?
When you sing it's foreign language.
Oh, I'll give you an example. Oh, that's a different language. I'm talking the language of your language. I said even English because most Anglo, but if you're Hebrew, even in Hebrew, we're not paying attention to what we're saying.
Of course, I agree.
So I'll give you one. Cats in the Cradles. Right? Cats in the Cradles. Right? By who? Who wrote that song? Good. It goes like Cat Stevens, right? Harry Chapin. Why did they write that song? Do you know why he wrote it? Right. It was his wife who gave him the idea from her first husband who had an issue with his father. And then he equated it to his own son. How do I know that? Because my father sent me a WhatsApp about 2 days ago. He goes, who wrote Cats in the Cradle? I said, Harry Chapin. So he said, who did he write it for? I said, I don't know. He said he wrote it because of his son. In the meantime, I Wikipedia'd. What you got now, Pops? And I came back with, it wasn't technically for his son. It was really his wife's ex-husband, the father-ish. But anyway, if you go and he didn't write back, I don't know. Anyway, but if you go ahead and you listen to the song, it's unbelievably depressing. It's a depressing song. Right? The whole thing is, and it's amazing to see because I'll sometimes sing it in a class. I'll go through like a whole discussion about, it's actually connected to Pesach, right? I think we're going to have it after the Grim Reaper. Anyway, but basically you go through the Pesach, I mean, that's essentially what Cats in the Cradle is, right? That we continue living to the next generation, that which we learned earlier, right? So we've got more passing it on and continuing it, hopefully for the positive, not for the negative. When you coming home, son? I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. We'll have a good time then. Depressing, right? And when you listen to it, it's like that. Tov Lahodos LaHashem. And I love watching people to get into the song. What does it mean? I don't know. Right? So
Rav Shlomo says that.
Let's hear. This is going to be good.
Means, why does it say instead of
tell me.
Because when the night is dark, we need a taste of how much God believes in us. That's why
Rav
and
Shlomo.
so it's easy to thank Hashem when things are good, like Baboker Chastecha, but when it's dark and when things are rough,
believe.
we need Hashem's belief in us to help us.
Sold right outside for only 75 shekel or 100, depending if it's English or Hebrew. All right, so now, yeah, there we go. You're going to throw it a pitch. You get money off this? What's going on here? All right, so what's that? Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. You just brought the... I believe it's... nice. Yeah, who said that? What you got now? Okay, so if you want to go to the easiest ones to the source, Esther, Mordechai. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't remember asking a question. I do remember saying we generally don't know what it means, but if you took that as a question...
Why do we... What does it mean?
Oh, you're so funny. Yeah, I hear that. You haven't heard of rhetorical yet. All right, so rhetorical means... I'm so sorry. Okay, so it goes like this. What does rhetorical mean? So here we go. So I wasn't looking for, but I'm glad that you said that. And that, by the way, is actually... I'm happy you said that because it's quite accurate. Most people translate it wrong. And I'm going to share with you the wrong way to translate it, as many people do. This is the easy way of getting out of the issue of it being wrong, is I'm just going to start by saying homiletically. Right? Then it's okay. Then I can say whatever I want. Okay, so homiletically speaking, there are myriads of understandings of what this could be. Okay? But I'm going to share with you one. Tov lahodos laHashem. It is good. Lahodos. That's lahodos. To thank. If you agree, just hang. Right? It's to recognize, to acknowledge, to admit, to thank Hashem. Tov lahodos laHashem. It's good. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, and to sing to His great name. And to sing. How many of us sing to Hashem? If you do, great. That's a real question now. Okay, you're welcome. Yeah. How many of us sing to Hashem? You're Breslev?
No.
Oh, so how many of us sing? I know a guy in France. How many of us sing to Hashem? In other words, we go and I say, how many of you thank God? How many people thank God?
Sometimes.
Great, sometimes. How many of you sing to God?
Sometimes.
Okay, good. We're getting good. Right? Now I'm talking not in the shower. We're talking about, yeah? So we say, Tov Hashem ulezamer. We should be singing. We should be, thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Gracias means thank you in Spanish. The French say merci beaucoup. Toda adank and spasiba. All these mean thank you. So we go and we thank, but we sing. Ulezamer l'shem chayon. Lahagid baboker chasdecha. Now let's translate it wrong. I'm not being facetious. I'm being serious. Lahagid baboker chasdecha. To speak out in the mornings. Your chesed, your kindness, your acts of kindness towards us. Amunos chavalelos, which literally means your faith in us, but homiletically means. And then our faith in you. How does one have faith in God during the night? In other words, when things are dark and difficult. The only way you'll be able to handle life challenges is if we were first lahagid baboker chastecha ulezamer tov lahodos laHashem ulezamer l'shimcha elyon lahagid baboker chastecha. If we admit and we think and we recognize and we speak out and we thank God, and then along with that we go ahead during the good times when everything is clear, and when the bad times or the not so good times or the seemingly bad times come to us, we'll be fortified to be able to mentally handle it. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Does it make sense? A person has to prepare themselves. And I want to share with you what I did because of this. There's a song, I think it's an Uncle Maishi song. I can't promise. But I think it's Uncle Maishi. I wish I would say that it's, something that I would love to listen to. But actually half of my kids actually hate it now because the younger one, right? It's like, put it on. Right, so my kid's in a stage now that everyone's Uncle Maishi. He's only 14. So... I don't have a 14-year-old. Okay, anyway, so Uncle Maish is a great song. If you miss a bus or a train, you must never, never complain. If you miss a train or a bus, you must never, never make a fuss. Because Gamzu Litova Tova, Gamzu Litova. Gamzu Litova Tova, Gamzu. Everyone now. Okay, so I have like this, yeah? I love it. Yeah, so why don't I stop? Okay, so Gamzu Tova. This is one of the greatest stories. My wife and I and our children were traveling from, I don't remember exactly the details. I know we were coming from Israel or maybe from a different country. I don't remember any of the details. So I know we were going on a plane. We were attempting to go on a plane. I'm going to fill in, I think. I think we went from here to Philly. Does that make sense? Is that a hub? Yeah? What? It's not anymore? Philly's done? I'm going to Philly in like a week. I hope it's not done.
No, it's not done.
Oh, Philly's there. Okay, good. Right. Whew, scaring me here. Right. They just made a new Rocky. Philly better be around. Okay, anyway. So it could have been Toronto. You know what I'm saying? Philly, Toronto. Anyway, so but we're on our way to Canada, right? So we went, and the plane in Israel took off so late that it was so unlikely they were going to make the next flight. And you know how people get when they're going to miss their flight. Even though it wasn't like Erev Shabbat, it was like a Tuesday, you know? But if you miss your flight, then that means you're not going to get another flight for like 6 weeks. You have to live in the airport. You're not allowed to eat anything. Right? And we just think like crazy things. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to miss that. So you'll miss your flight. Like, what's the big deal? Okay, no, it's very big. Yeah, why? You know, because I don't want to miss it. Right? And we make it to this huge thing. Anyway, so we're going, and when we land in Philly or Toronto or wherever we landed, we had to first take a train to then take a bus to then take the plane. Like, it was like this whole thing. And then we had to run and we had to crawl through this course. And it was basic train. It was boot camp. It was nuts. Anyway, yeah, I told you the story? Anyway, so basically, I didn't want to get into that part yet. But anyway, so you know, we have this whole thing. And we finally get to when we get to the bus place, the bus takes off. And I said to the kids, I'm like, kids, if you miss a bus or a train. Now my 11-year-old's like this. Stop it now, okay? Just stop it, yeah? I'm like, what? How? You know? And my younger one's like, yay! And I'm like dancing. Gamzula Tova Tova. And my kid's like, what are wrong with you? I'm like, isn't this the best thing ever going to happen, guys? Gamzula Tova. We've been listening to this song for years. For this moment, you better dance, yeah? I'm getting rid of that CD, right? If you miss a train or a bus, I would miss a bus or a plane. Nothing better. We missed a bus, and we're going to miss our plane. What's better than that? Gamzula Tova, right? And my wife already had enough of me. But anyway, so finally a bus comes. We get to the next terminal, and now we're running towards the plane. We're running, and it starts, you know, bah, 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 boom, boom, right? And we're going, and I said, my wife is pushing a stroller, and my kids are running, and my wife I'm like, what do I do? She's like, just go ahead. I'm like, okay, right? And we start running, and I had 3 kids running ahead of me, and this is the best moment. They're all wearing Crocs. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was there. But literally, all of them at the same time, at some point, just went, they just all fell. Just went straight down on their faces. I don't know, slippery or it got sticky at something. But they're all like running. I'm like, just go, kids, honey, I'll see you sometime. I love you. Right? My kids are like running. I'm like, go, kids. They're like, all right. Right? I was like, oh my goodness. And then I jumped over them. I kept going. Right? And then I'm going to make this flight. And I get to the gate, to the thingamajig. And I go, so I'm like, did we miss the plane? Like, for sure we missed the plane. It's like a half hour after takeoff. You know, I'm like, did we miss the plane? And she goes, no. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, the crew isn't even here yet. They're running late. I was like, oh. So I look back. My kids are like bleeding. My wife is running. She knocked one over with the stroller. And she's like, what happened? I said, we missed it and there's not a flight for another week. And this woman burst out laughing. And she's like, what? I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. She's like, oh yeah, anyway, I don't want to go into what happened next, but the point is, in that circumstance, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I mess up a lot. That you could ask my wife too, she'll tell you. But in this particular instance, I was totally in a state of joy the whole time. Maybe because we were going to my in-laws, and we had a little delay. But I'm saying that, no, but I was on, what happens is, I train, without even realizing, every day I'm listening to Gamzula Tova. And you say it, you speak about it, what happens, it becomes a part of you. When you say it, you speak about it, and you think about it, it actually starts to enter into you. The more one thinks about something, the more one speaks about it, the more one focuses, the more one focuses, the more it enters, and it becomes them. And it starts to be natural. It's no longer you have to think about it. It starts to be natural. But let's talk about negativity-wise. Person goes ahead and they grow up in a home, which is very nice, decent home, and everyone is raised in a way which is proper, appropriate behavior in the way they speak, in the way they dress, the way they behave. And then they hang out with people that their mode of language is not exactly the same, you know, mama's cooking, and jamamas, yeah? It's more like, beep, jamamas, yeah? And you go ahead and you start hanging out with them. what happens? You start to speak like them. We adapt to our surroundings. When you start to speak like something like that, it starts to happen without us even realizing it. The same thing is so when we start to push it. How does a person keep the joy of Purim? How does a person ever have joy? When we start to see the good things in our lives and we speak them out and we sing them. Something good happens. I found a pen. Thank you, Lord, for this pen. We go to them and we sing them. We sing to Hashem. And it starts to become Kamsalatova. Something bad happens. What's considered bad? Not getting into the discussion of the Gemara here. I'm just saying something small. You stub your toe. And when you stub your toe, you right away say Kamsalatova. Kamsalatova. Not unlike, you don't need like bad, God forbid, it's Yena Machala or somebody died or whatever. You can't find your keys. Well, that's an intense one. I shouldn't have said that one. But let's say you can't find a pen. All right? You can't find a pen. Kamsalatova. Get into a mode where we're constantly saying it. When a person's constantly saying it, starts to enter in. When it starts to enter in, it starts to change everything. All right, peeps, let's do it like this. Quick recap of what we did. End off with one story, then finity samos. There we go. So we start at the beginning where the Gemara says, this is when we go into the idea what happens. We less our joy, we increase our joy. So what are you supposed to feel in Teves? Joy. Shvat. Joy. Adar. Joy. Av. Joy. Just a little bit less. But we always let me say the joy. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but I always say the joy. How are you always happy? You don't know. But how does a person go? Why would you not be happy? Well, I'll tell you why I wouldn't be happy because of this problem, that problem, the other problem. Why would you be happy? But give me examples. What is it? Obviously, this is what you got to smoke your own. You got to smoke your own. Your grass is the greenest that exists. There is no greener grass. Your grass is the greenest. Sha'asali kol tzarki. We said to be the fact that everything we have really is coming from Hashem. This is what we bust and the good things that we do. What do you mean it's the same? It's not the same. B'simcha. Don't get confused by a smile. Doesn't mean it's good. Stop it, me. Right? Start to realize that what happens. We go ahead and we get to feel idea. When we start to focus on the good things that happen, you're going to get it next week. Whatever, I don't even care. No, you do care, right? You're going to get it next week. For the ladies, 2 weeks, all right? You'll be able to lose the weight, whatever it is. Yeah? What happens? Come to realize the fact we're going to get it. Unbelievable. Amen. You're going to get it next week, in 2 weeks, whatever you want. Amen. Oh, there you go. You too. You too. Amen. Thank you. Fine. Right, okay. We are the beautiful voice of Hashem Karlach. Hashem's faith in us. There'll be the improper translation. Means what? That we are faith in Hashem. How does a person go? Says the woman, how are you going to tell me I'm going to be talking when you're going through such a thing? The answer is, I can't once you're in it. When you're being crushed by something, you can't lift it off because you didn't work out. If you don't work out your mind, you're going to be able to deal with it when the things happen in our lives. This is we got to train ourselves to get into a mode where Gamzul Tova. You miss a train or bus, you must make a fuss, miss a bus or a train. Never complain, because Gamzul Tova. Even when you run into an airplane, your wife is running after you, guy one's going, no planes for next week, we don't have any food, we're dying. Right? And so what happens comes to realize the fact, hey, everything's good. Everything's aight. Everything's good. We've got to thank Hashem. We've got to speak with Hashem. We've got to sing to Hashem. And consistency, over and over, drill it in. And focus. This is for the best. This is for the best. This is for the best. And when the good things happen, this is for the best. So to realize the fact, everything is good. Everything is good. And then a person always has joy. And we'll end with this story, which some of you, I'm sure, have heard in other contexts, certainly with me, maybe with others as well. The story, don't be that guy. If you know it, don't be that guy. Don't bust me out. Here we go. The story is told about a guy, una vez, hubo un hombre que se llamaba Carlos. There was this guy named Carlos. Y todos lo amaban. Everybody loved this guy. Él trabajaba en un restaurante. Y mucha gente venía al restaurante solo estaba en su presencia. People just want to be next to this guy. Porque siempre estaba de buen humor. Back to your home country. Come on. Right? So what do we got? This guy, Carlos, was always in a good mood. Everybody loved just being around him. He worked in a restaurant. People would go to the restaurante just to be in his presence. They just wanted to hang out with the guy. Because he was so, porque siempre estaba de buen humor, right? He's always in a good mood. So one day, some guy goes to him, hey, Carlos, what's up? It's like, it couldn't be better if I was my own twin. They're like, all right, dude, what I'm saying? Like, it's a little weird, but all right, Like, man, how are you always so happy? He said, well, it's quite simple. I wake up in the morning, and I think to myself, I have two options. Today I could either be in a good mood or a bad mood. Today I could look at things favorably or unfavorably. Today I can be in a state of positivity or negativity. I decide good, favorable, positive. That's about it. I just choose to be in a good mood. Like, come on, man. It's no fácil. It ain't so easy. I said, yeah, it is. It's that simple. Come on. It's that simple. Okay. This fellow, Carlos, like we mentioned, worked in a restaurant. Did anyone ever work in a restaurant? Did anyone ever close a restaurant at night? When you do it the last, you've closed a restaurant before? What is the first thing you're meant to do when you're closing the restaurant? The first thing you do, people, you say thank you for coming, they leave. What's the first thing you do? Good. Lock the door. Why do you lock the door?
Nobody else comes in.
That's one idea. There's another reason. Generally, the most amount of money that's found is at the end of the day. Because people go, unless you send someone in the middle of the day to go cash in, right? But you have the most amount of money. People are coming in, whatever it is, you have all the money there. Most robberies occur by closing time. Turn out all the lights, so they go ahead. What happens? Closing time. So the first thing you do is lock the doors. Don't let anyone in, either to bother you or in order to go ahead and steal the money. So un día, cuando Carlos cerrando el restaurante, he was closing up. He forgot to lock the door. Cardinal said. And he goes and he's by, and two people, dos personas, entraron con pistolas. You got that? Two people coming with guns. And they're like, all right, fork it over. Rápido, dinero. Give over the cash. So he takes the keys out to the cash. And he gets nervous. He fumbles them. They get nervous, and they shoot him. And he hits the floor. They run out. He calls up the ambulance, police, whatever it is. Ambulance gets there. They're like, all right, man, you're going to make it. They take him. They throw him in the ambulance. They missed. He hit his head. They pick him up again. They put him in gently. And they take him. Let's fast forward. A year and a half later, he's walking down the street after operations and after physical therapy and after who knows what. Here he is walking down the street. And his friend sees him and says, ¿Qué, Carlos? ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué pasa? What's happening, man? Hace mucho tiempo que no veo usted. Yeah, it's been a long time. How you doing? He said, I couldn't be better if I got shot again. Want to see my scar? Like, okay, Ad Khan Rabbi Akiva. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You know what I mean? I get it, you're in happiness, but what do you mean you got shot? You're dead. You almost shot through the heart, and that guy was to blame. You know what I'm saying? You give love a bad name. So he says, let me tell you a story. Story in a story. He said, so I got shot, and there I was. Ambulance came, they threw me in, they missed, it hurt. They put me in gently. We went to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, they radioed ahead. So, of course, there's the whole team of doctors is waiting, and they're ready to work on me. And when the doors fly open, I see them, they see me. And then I look at their faces, and I see the look of death on their faces. And I think to myself, I must not look too good. And they start working on me. They're pulling out the needle and doing this, and I go, and then all of a sudden, one of them yells out, "Are you allergic to anything?" Right? Because you can't put in the wrong medications. And I said, yes. So everybody stopped working. He said, well, what is it? And I said, bullets. And they burst out laughing. And I said, listen, let me tell you something. I made a decision. I want to live. Can you please treat me like a live person and not like a dead person? Now, I don't know if those of you are familiar with the medical system, but unfortunately, when a patient comes in that doesn't seem like they're going to make it, you do protocol. Do what you got to do. And it's okay. Unfortunately, didn't make it. But if you think someone stands a chance, what happens to you? What happens to all of us? You get energized, and then you put more in. You go above protocol. So he said, please treat me like a live person and not like a dead person. My friends, everything in life, the way in which we see it, is totally up to us. If you are in a bad mood, today, another day, sometime in your life, you chose to be in a bad mood. You can't blame anyone but yourself. You couldn't blame your in-laws, but other than that, you can blame no one but yourself. Men, since time immemorial, have been blaming their wives. But the understanding is that really, you can't blame anyone because nobody can affect you unless you let them affect you. And if we're not in a good mood, it's because we decided to not be focusing and focar on the positive things in our life. And if we were to take the time to focus on the positive, and we were able to get into a mode where we train ourselves, Gamzul Latov, and we're able to work it out step by step, what ends up happening, then we could take not only the joy of Purim to continuing it, we can continue not just for now, but really for our entire lives. Any questions, comments, stories, jokes, attacks, please see them verbal and physical? What you got, buddy? No, not you. Behind you. Yeah. What do you got?
So today I was trying to get back to Baca from Manila, and I took the wrong bus. I ended up at Habibitka, and I started thinking, it's just, I guess I don't run the world. I guess it's a shame. So I just
took time to figure that out.
What?
Took you time to figure that one out, huh? So I'll tell you something. It's fascinating because the Gemara says in Sukkah, I believe it's on page 53, but you're not going to check anyway, so I can make it up. The Gemara says, you're going to check? Oh, in that case, it's found in the page that says, that I think it's page 53, you can check, right? That says, Nun Gimel Maral, says that any place a person's legs take them, that's where they're meant to be. Nothing random. The Gemara tells a story. It's a funny story. It's not funny at all, actually. It's horrible. But it's humorous. Depends if you're from England or not, what type of humor you have, right? But the story goes like this. There was a fellow by the name of King Solomon. And King Solomon saw Satan. He saw the Satan. And he saw that he was sad. He was upset. So he goes, what's the problem? He goes, I'm trying to kill this guy. But he's not going to the place where he's supposed to die. Because there's really a time and a place for everything in this life. Even a place where one is supposed to die. And the person's not going to where they need to die, so I'm not able to kill them. So quickly Shlomo says, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, have a good day, Satan. And he listens to Stereo to Heaven backwards, and it says, here's you sing. Right? And he goes ahead. And he goes to, you have to know that one to know that one. But anyway, so he goes ahead. And he goes to, he quickly goes to the guy. And he says, listen, quickly go to the city of Luz. I was hoping you were going to get this. You did suck, huh?
I did.
Go to the city of...
I did it in 8th grade.
Oh, okay. Go to the city... Still, I'm holding you to that level. Go to the city of Luz. Why? Because the city of Luz, you're protected. Satan can't get in. The guy says, okay. Next day, he's walking down the street and he sees Satan. And he's laughing. He says, why are you laughing? He says, because somebody told me tomorrow I'm going to get what I want. All right, so he said, so why are you laughing? So he said, because remember that guy who I couldn't get killed? Because he wasn't going to the right place? Well, I was finally able to kill him. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, he was supposed to be killed by the entrance to the city of Luz. Someone sent him to Luz, so before he got there, I killed him. That's why I say it's not funny. It's actually a sad story. It's a depressing song, When You Coming Home, Son. But any place a person's legs take them, that's where they're meant to be. If a person lives a life like that, it's a whole other world. Yeah.
Let's go back to the brother-in-law of that movie that you spoke. So what did you tell her?
Yeah.
He prepared himself.
No. So I said is to say to your sister and to your brother-in-law, I can't say anything to them. They're going through right now. To you, I could say, because you're one step removed, that you could maybe hear what I'm saying, but even that's going to be challenging. I'm only going to see this one time in life. I have an opportunity. What can I say? Really, when someone's going through an emotional experience, there's really nothing to say other than I'm sorry. I feel your pain. Right? And to give a little hug. But if you have that Shomer Negiah thing, so you maybe don't do that. Yeah, so that you grab some woman, do you mind hugging her, please? Thank you. Right? So that could be awkward. But okay, you go ahead. I only did it once. Anyway, so you go ahead but what I was saying, hopefully to say is like, listen, you want to know the question, this particular one, there's nothing I could say. But you want to know for life, we need to prepare ourselves. If we don't prepare ourselves, we don't stand a chance. If we prepare ourselves, we stand more of a chance. Not a guarantee, but we stand more of a chance. All right, people, till next time. Been a pleasure. See when I see you. Don't want to take every good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. I just want to quickly make it, thank you very much for everybody coming once again. And Ragav, our dear friend Aaron Goldscheider is outside selling his Haggadot. So if you're interested, please.
You didn't know?
What Haggadah?
Shlomo Kava.